A new report finds that the number of Americans living paycheck to paycheck is increasing, pushing back the goal of retirement.
Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing your paycheck isn't coming. Not next week, not next month, tomorrow. Now, for some people, that would be stressful, but manageable. For millions of Americans, it would be the beginning of a financial crisis. Rent, groceries, insurance, credit cards, everything would start collapsing almost immediately. And the scary part is, this isn't happening only to low income households anymore. It's happening to teachers, office workers, engineers, even people making six figures. So, how did America become a country where millions of people are just one paycheck away from disaster? From the outside, a lot of Americans look financially stable. People are still buying coffee, going on vacations, driving decent cars. But underneath that appearance, many households are running on extremely thin margins. A recent PNC Financial Wellness report found that 67% of Americans in 2025 say they live paycheck to paycheck, up from 63% the year before. Think about that for a second. That's not a small struggling minority. That's the majority. And according to Bank of America Institute data, nearly 1 in 4 households now spend over 95% of their income on necessities alone. Meaning, by the time rent, food, transportation, insurance, and utilities are paid, there's almost nothing left. Now, most people assume this only affects low income workers. But that's not really true anymore. Because over the last few years, the cost of simply existing in America has exploded. Groceries are dramatically more expensive than they were just a few years ago. Housing costs keep rising, car insurance premiums jumped, healthcare remains brutally expensive, and wages, they've increased, but not fast enough. Investopedia recently reported that inflation continues to outpace wage growth for many households, especially middle income families. So, even if someone technically earns more money today than they did in 2020, they often feel poorer. Because every dollar is already spoken for before the paycheck even arrives. And honestly, this might be the most depressing part of the story. A recent survey found that many Americans have already mentally spent their paycheck before it even hits the bank account. Think about that. Before the money even arrives, people already know where it's going. Rent, groceries, credit cards, utilities. Average American spends nearly half their paycheck within the first 48 hours of receiving it. That means many households aren't really managing money anymore. They're surviving one payment cycle at a time. And this becomes dangerous when something unexpected happens. A car repair, a medical bill, a missed shift at work. Because millions of Americans simply don't have a financial cushion. Federal Reserve data continues to show that many Americans struggle to cover even relatively small emergency expenses. And according to recent studies, only 46% of households have enough emergency savings to cover 3 months of expenses. Meaning more than half the country is financially exposed, not years away from crisis, sometimes just weeks away. Now here's the important question. Why is this happening now? Because this isn't just about personal budgeting, it's structural. Over the last decade, many essentials became dramatically more expensive faster than incomes grew. Housing became harder to afford, debt became normal, healthcare costs stayed high, and inflation quietly changed everyday life. Even small things add up. Food delivery, subscriptions, higher interest rates, buy now pay later debt. At the same time, people accordingly rely on credit just to maintain a normal lifestyle. And once debt payments become part of your monthly survival, missing even one paycheck becomes terrifying. And this creates something deeper than financial stress. It creates mental exhaustion. When you're constantly waiting for the next paycheck, your brain stops thinking long term. You stop thinking about retirement, or investing, or wealth building. You start thinking about making it to Friday. That's why so many Americans say they feel financially anxious even when they're employed full time. Because stability today doesn't feel permanent anymore. One layoff, one illness, one emergency, and everything changes. And this is where another problem appears. Most families don't just lack savings, they also lack protection. Because if the primary income earner suddenly passes away, the financial pressure doesn't stop. The bills still come, the mortgage still exists, the groceries still need to be bought. And that's why products like Family Protector 2 from LCB Life exist. It's designed to help families create a financial safety net through life insurance coverage that can help loved ones handle expenses when income suddenly disappears. Because for many households, the real danger isn't just dying. It's what happens financially to the family left behind. And in a country where millions already live paycheck to paycheck, that protection matters more than people realize. And that's rare. And here's the strange part. This crisis isn't limited to lower income households anymore. Even people earning over $100,000 increasingly report living paycheck to paycheck. Why? Lifestyle inflation. As income rises, expenses rise too. Bigger homes, higher car payments, private schools, more subscriptions, more debt. And eventually, high income creates the illusion of wealth without actual financial security. That's why some households making six figures still panic when unexpected expenses appear, because income and stability are not the same thing. Now imagine what happens during layoffs, or a recession, or a medical emergency. Suddenly, millions of financially stretched households hit a wall at the same time. And we've already started seeing warning signs. Economic uncertainty, higher borrowing costs, and slowing job growth are increasing financial pressure across the country. That's why economists worry about paycheck to paycheck living so much. It means the economy looks stable until suddenly it doesn't. And maybe that's the biggest lesson here. Being employed no longer automatically means being financially secure, because modern life has become expensive in ways people didn't fully notice at first. And slowly, millions of households drifted closer and closer to the edge, until one missed paycheck became enough to push everything into crisis. And maybe the scariest part is this. For many people, the crisis hasn't happened yet, but the system they're living in is already fragile. Do you think the paycheck to paycheck crisis is getting worse in America, or are people simply spending beyond their means? Let me know in the comments.